It would have been the most progressive kids show of all time.
But also that gay black man cried when he talked about Mr. Rogers, how much he loved him.
And he called him his surrogate father.
Yeah,
Really?
It was really great. Oh, you're wearing this shirt. I like that shirt.
I figured we should promote.
I like that
cool.
shirt. It's cool.
Look like a race car driver.
That's cool. I like that shirt.
Do you feel like
It's
a
not
race
as
car
tight
driver?
around the sleeves as I generally like my shirts to be.
you're right,
Well,
it's
you got to
not.
get
Yeah.
flares.
Got to
I
get
can-
bigger
yeah.
biceps, James.
I can
Fill out
hear
those
your
sleeves.
shirt from here.
Good luck.
Welcome to Funhaus, everybody. I'm Daniel. I've got Adam Kovic.
Hi.
Bruce Green.
Hello.
James Willems with me.
Goodbye.
On the show today. We're going to do a bit of a year in review show today. Really just kind of our own personal takes, the movies we liked or hated a lot this year. I don't think we've really seen enough to talk about the industry in general, but maybe more just what we cared for or didn't.
You got it.
Cool.
I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm ready to drop the
Body's ready.
science.
So 2018 was a pretty big mixed bag for movies. There's a lot of junk, big pile of heaping shitty
Why did he hate
garbage films.
I don't know. I mean, I
Very
think there was.
bipartisan
I think
here.
there was bad movies. I think there was good movies.
Yes.
I would say that even the movies that are on my bad list, most of them have redeeming qualities.
Sure.
Fair
Okay.
enough.
All right. Yeah.
I feel like we don't have the Alien versus Predators as much as we used to. Now we just
Really?
get the Predator.
Well, we're in a weird situation where Alien versus Predator was a movie that was like middle budget, and it like turns out bad. Now we're in a place where people spend a lot of money on bad movies,
It's still bad.
and you're like, wait, how happened?
I don't
Where'd you
know.
put that money?
Marketing? I don't know. Yeah, so what do you want to start off with? The goods or the bads or some of the uglies?
Yeah, I say we start off with the bad and go to the good just to end on a better note.
You bet.
Sure.
This here is Gotti, which I think people that have seen it agree this is one of the worst movies ever made.
Ever made?
I saw this on number one on basically every list
Several
of bad
lists.
movies of 2018.
I didn't see it, but now that it is, infamous, I do want to see
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
It makes you more curious
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is worse than like Gigli and shit like that? Like,
I haven't seen it, so I can't say.
okay. All right.
Yeah, usually I try to stay far away from the bad movies unless it's like, it's so bad you need to watch this.
Well, there's all kind. There's like bad. There's poorly made, and then there's offensive. And I think those different movies fall in different categories. I feel like this is maybe in the more offensive category.
Nice. That's
know?
good. That's good.
It is
Decent
also
cast.
It's,
Yeah,
well,
really
it's also
decent cast.
it's based on a real life gangster. James, you were saying the family had some.
I believe that this movie took a while to make because the family still controlled the rights or whatever it is.
They didn't want him to look bad or something?
And so I
Weird.
think there was some oversight. So the vibe I've heard from this movie is that it's not exactly critical of this man who
Killed people.
yeah,
and-
lied, cheated, and
yeah.
stealed.
Was a criminal.
Murdered.
Yeah.
For 30 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, what about movies we've seen? Adam, what was the worst movie you saw this year?
This is a toss up between 50 Shades Darkest or whatever.
Free.
Freed.
The third
yeah,
one.
Free.
The third
I
one.
had a
Yeah.
good trailer.
And Venom for me. If we're talking like big movies, like ones that I just absolutely did not care for. I've just been better with my time this year, and most of the bad movies I've seen are because we had to see them for work.
Yes.
Yeah, same. Yeah, really.
Yeah, and then I even throw Jurassic Park or Jurassic World into there.
The second one.
where
That's mine. That's my number one.
Yeah, it's a toss up between those, but since I'm the only one who saw 50 Shades
what-
Freed,
What was so bad about this movie?
it just didn't give me the conclusion I was looking for the
This
trilogy.
was the end of the show.
You've seen the other two, correct?
I saw all three movies. Yes.
He watched
Good
them all.
for you.
Yeah, and like some of them, I could see you maybe masturbating to like a couple of the scenes, like possibly. This one was just
There's no masturbation in this one?
no, and we did an entire review on this movie, and it's the problem with these films, and I guess maybe the books. I've never read them, but any sort of conflict has a resolution in the exact scene it takes place in. So.
I love that.
Yeah,
Actually,
so
wraps it up.
right now we're watching the
leave at any
trailer.
point.
This is the scene where I'm upset because during the trailer they're setting up like this is going to be a big conflict.
Yeah.
They're buying this new house and this hot real estate agent's like, "What's up, Christian? You want to buy this house? Ooh, baby." This scene is taken care of right here. You see where she goes, "Hey, fuck off." She goes, "Yes, I will fuck off." That's it. She's gone.
Really?
The author cannot be bothered, or the screenwriter. I'm assuming these are just one for one.
Yeah.
But The only sort of lingering conflict was in the the second movie. There's a bad guy, an obsessive ex-lover or wannabe guy, but that's taken care of, I think, in the beginning of the movie.
So what's all this race car driving?
This is the beginning of the
awesome.
movie.
So wait, so what's the conflict of the movie then?
They get a house?
Did she get pregnant?
There's real no conflict. Like I said, they're showing all this stuff of, watch out, there's a new lover. Watch out, there's this jealous ex-employer. All taken care of.
Are there boobs in this?
I believe so.
They're
So
better
it
than
couldn't
me.
possibly be on my worst.
Also, I think part of
Boobs
the
immediately elevates it.
I
from
mean,
bad
yeah,
to-
we're-
Definitely.
oh,
Kim Basinger's in it.
yeah, that's like his old lover. That's the one that made him.
And
bad.
so what happens to her?
She's got a gun.
Everything's okay.
Everything's okay.
Everything's fine.
Okay.
It ends with them having a kid,
ah,
they're
that's
still
pretty bad.
But they're still pretty kinky.
Cool.
Okay.
I guess my
What
least
about
favorite
that?
part
Yeah.
is
What about the guy that?
There's a knife.
I don't find Don Johnson's daughter that attractive. By the end of this franchise, I thought she was kind of cute.
Oh, that's good.
I know.
Hey, what about
but
this, Adam?
Is this
How do
a-
they resolve that?
Is this kinky?
It's resolved moments after this happens. Someone walks in and goes, "Put the knife down." He goes, "Okay," and they take him to jail. He goes, and then he went to jail forever. I'm not kidding. That's how this movie ends. And this is like in the first 30 minutes of the movie, and everyone goes, "Oh, thank God that was taken care of. What's next? Let's buy a house." Oh, Christian, you're the best.
So I have no doubt that this movie is bad, but I have a hard time like really coming after it because its source material
was always
is
bad,
just
yeah.
something to finger bang yourself to.
Yeah.
Like that was the objective of the source material, to get
agree.
really boring people to finger bang themselves.
Yeah.
So was 50 Shades Freed worse than the book club movie where a bunch of old people read?
That's got
The
good
book-
actresses in it, though.
Book
Because you
club.
saw this, right?
Yeah, book club is about a bunch of old bags who.
It's got Candice Bergen and Diane Keaton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one of the Fondas.
Yeah, Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda's in there.
Come on.
Yeah, it's a bunch
Mary
of old.
Steenburgen?
She's married to Coach himself.
No, she's
And this
not.
this no
She's
in
married to Ted Danson.
in this movie, Coach plays her husband, and
Craig T. Nelson is who he's
And she
talking
ends up-
about.
she ends
Nobody
up-
knows who
Mr.
Coach.
Incredible.
Nobody knows who Coach is. Yeah, Mr. Incredible.
oh sorry, Mr.
No one knows who
Incredible.
Coach is.
How dare you?
No, I'm sorry, they don't. They don't know who Dauber is either, guys.
You guys need to find out about Dauber. If you don't know,
The only thing that's offensive about this movie is that there is just a lark that they have where one of the women basically drugs her husband with dick pills and gets him hard.
Okay.
And he's like, "What the fuck? You drugged him?" She's like, "It's all fun." Like
that's kind
and
of awful.
That's like
it's
sexual
pretty-
assault.
It is pretty terrible.
And sexual assault. him.
But it's like, everyone chill out. I drugged him. Whatever.
Are there any boobs in this movie?
No, but it does have.
Glad.
They're
I
all
want to see
women.
those. I want to see those Steenburgens.
No. I'm just saying, if you haven't seen Richard Dreyfuss in a movie in a long time, this might be your last chance.
I want to hear James talk about Jurassic World. 'cause I never
we're-
saw it.
let's-
Yeah,
no,
we're
I didn't.
done
I
here.
never saw
Yeah,
it.
I gave up on Jurassic Park a long time ago.
I think all in all, I think Jurassic World, much love to Don. I respect his opinions on it. I'm glad he enjoyed it. I think it is far and away the worst movie I've seen this year.
even with Chris Pratt.
Yes. Yes.
I love Chris Pratt.
Hey, he was in the first Jurassic World, and I think that this is worse than the first. I hated the first Jurassic
did.
World.
Yeah, you
Elise
did.
can tell you she sat next to me, almost had to move because I was just looking through my eyes. Didn't understand why the movie thought I was such a fucking moron.
Yeah.
This movie, in my opinion, was worse. It's weird. It's like you're watching a prequel to an entirely different movie about a post-apocalyptic dinosaur world, which is what it's setting up for. And we're finally going to get the Jurassic World. It only took 3 movies.
Okay. Yeah.
Like 6.
But there's just a mind-numbingly amount of stupid characters. Stupid characters. Adam's talking about like creating conflict and resolving that conflict in the same scene.
Yeah.
This movie creates conflict, doesn't resolve it, just realizes there needs to be conflict at X number of. It could have been written by a really stupid computer. And then beyond that, these movies hinge on kind of like the action.
Yeah, special effects.
And it's not that good.
Not that good.
It's really not that good. I made a joke in our first review, and I still stand by it, that the dinosaurs are so ridiculous that you could subtitle them.
Like they were talking to
There's
him?
so many moments where it lingers, almost as though in the script they wrote out the translation of a dinosaur roar. So when the T-Rex comes up and roars, in the script it says T-Rex, and then translates his roar into "We have to get out of here. The island is exploding."
Is that what's happening?
Yeah,
here?
like but then there's a monster even later on because they build a new. That's what they have to do.
Every movie.
Giant mouths with teeth the size of a fucking just monsters.
They
Beasts. Walking great white sharks are apparently not scary enough, so they have to make one that's scarier. But it's never really that much scarier than the other one. It
They
just
have the
has like
circle things
longer
back.
nails, or in the dumbest case, it follows laser guns to kill a target.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
And no one raised their hand on set and said, "It's a gun." You're pointing a gun at the guy. That's it.
I never thought it would get dumber than Jurassic Park 3 when they had a flute that they played to control the Velociraptors.
That wasn't a flute. That was a voice box of a raptor. Come on, Adam.
When he
Jeez,
remember
get
when he
it right.
played it and he went.
No, that's not what happened.
And the dinosaurs are. Do we listen to him or do we listen to the Velociraptor? And the Velociraptor's like, no, you do what I do. You me. And he goes, and they're all confused and they all run away. This one, just more often than not, I was saying, but wait, and the movie goes, shut up. But it was like even this scene they're showing right now when what are they trying to do? They're trying to get blood.
They
from
need
the,
to get dinosaur blood from this dinosaur to save another dinosaur's life.
That's right. Blue
Because the dinosaur
Blue
that
needs a
they
transplant. That's
Has
right.
been shot.
the dinosaur they like.
The dinosaur they like has been shot, and the
about
only
that.
blood they can get is from a T-Rex, which is sleeping in an absurdly tiny cage.
But moments before that, they're trying to get in, and
fucking
it's the
dumb.
door that goes, and they get in, and then the guard goes, "This door's open," and he closes. Like, did you not hear? And like, everything's just very convenient.
Yeah.
The way it is that, I get it. It's a movie, and you're supposed to suspend disbelief, but when it starts to bother you more than it should,
Right. That's when it becomes a bad movie.
And they just really dumb things like we're going to put dinosaurs in a house, and then we're
Yeah.
going to sell these dinosaurs at the house. Why is it? Because we need money.
But I mean,
But how much did this house cost? Like,
most of the movie, by the way, doesn't take place on the Jurassic Park Island or the Jurassic World Island.
Yeah, yeah.
Excuse me.
not really.
That blows up pretty early on. Then we go to a mansion where a single dinosaur runs around
I'm really glad I didn't see this film.
and stalks them
God.
like a weird killer thing. And also, they cloned a girl using dinosaur cloning technology, and apparently this is now horrifically offensive. Like, it just, the whole thing is terrible. It's just garbage. They make me dislike Chris Pratt, which is really hard to do.
Wow, Chris Pratt's so likable.
Serious.
Yeah, really, I
much
just
money
don't
does
like
he
him in any of this movie. I felt bad for him more than anything.
If the movie was subtitled, I'd be like, that man is handsome.
Yeah.
That's probably about it, but he didn't have a lot to work
Yeah.
with.
As you can see in that sequence, she's holding a gun. She has a plan. It follows the laser of the gun. So she'll point the laser in a direction where it'll jump into a situation that kills itself.
Oh.
It's a gun.
So
They
just
could
shoot a
shoot
gun.
it.
Or just shoot a gun at it.
Or something like that. There's probably a line in there about how it has bulletproof skin. You can't just do that. That's not. You can't just say it has bulletproof skin.
Is this really a scene in the movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
It stalks this girl
It
because
becomes like a serial
she is
killer
also
dinosaur?
a clone, and it chases her like a horror movie.
Why?
Because
I don't
movie.
know. The only thing redeeming about this
don't
is
know.
that whatever the guy who made the shot list for it, like, had some cool stuff. So there's weird things where you're following the perspective of a dinosaur upside and then into a room or whatever. But it's very few and far between. And it really felt like he was only doing that because he was so tired of reading the script that he had to keep himself interested in making this. Everyone's garbage. You remember in Prometheus when they have the geologist or whatever who doesn't know, he gets lost,
Doesn't know
and
what's
the
going on.
biologist
Yeah.
who does
Doesn't know
all
biology.
terrible things.
Yes.
They double down on that hard.
Like all the characters do stupid things.
Every character does a stupid
the
thing.
mo-
This
the mo-
scene right here, they make a point of saying how trapped they are in this lava-filling facility.
Where's the lava coming from?
Doesn't matter.
There's like lava on the roof or whatever.
the script.
And so the hacker, they bring a hacker.
Okay.
He accesses a computer, but he accidentally unlocks the wrong door. It's a door that way as opposed to the door that way. Oh no, there is a dinosaur that's coming down that door. Of course, because I guess it was waiting for the hacker to open it. I don't know. So the dinosaur comes in and they scream again and again how they're trapped.
Yeah.
And there's no escape.
Right.
That goes on until that scene becomes boring. And then Bryce Dallas Howard says, here, let's climb up this ladder and leave.
But they were trapped.
they made it very clear to the audience that they were trapped. It's not like the dinosaur bumps into anything.
So like
knocks the ladder free.
Yeah, I was gonna say it wasn't a revealed ladder. No,
they didn't have to hack the computer.
Right.
They didn't have to let the dinosaur in.
All right.
They could have gone up the ladder.
Buffalo
'cause it
Bill's
was there
in
the
the
whole
movie.
time.
Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
The guy who plays Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo
Yeah,
Bill's in the movie.
He likes teeth.
He's killed when he decides that he needs to take a tooth from every dinosaur that he sees.
Whether dead
Even
or
if it
sleeping.
involves him going into a cage with a deadly DNA monstrosity
Can you find that scene? It's probably on
and
there.
locking himself in the cage with it, and then turns out it wakes up. Want to know how you know it wakes up? The dinosaur winks at the camera.
I don't want to see this movie ever.
No, you make it sound really bad.
There's another point where the raptor knows a bomb's going to go off. So a horrible-looking CG raptor sees the bomb and then leaps through a window to escape the explosion.
So it knows the bomb's gonna go off.
Yep,
Type in
because
wink.
it's a raptor.
Wink.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay.
It's garbage.
I don't. I don't wanna
Also,
see-
Jeff Goldblum's not in the movie.
Oh, he's
Really?
not?
He was in the
They cut him
trailer.
out.
I mean, he's in
no,
it.
no, I'm sorry. He's in the trailer, which is all that he is in the movie.
Oh, it's that
Oh, yeah.
one tiny
That's it.
scene.
It's a
They
weird,
had him for a day.
It's a weird
it.
scene where you think he's going to state the theme of the movie, but the movie doesn't have a theme.
yeah.
So it's just nothingness, and then all it is setting up. Imagine if they made the first Planet of the Apes because they wanted to set up the other two, except nothing had anything to do with the apes getting intelligent or whatever until the last 10 minutes of the movie.
also Jurassic World.
Okay. All right. Adam's really trying to find this scene.
I just wanted you to see him wink at the camera because it's. James mentioned being offensive. That's offensive.
and this dinosaur
Wait,
winks
try
at the camera.
go up. The you so precious when you smile, Indoraptor.
yeah.
Oh, so this is the.
I
Yeah,
don't know if
this is a song. This is a song. That
Oh, I don't
no,
know.
I mean like
It may have a clip of it in there.
Either way, I just. I don't know.
there's a dinosaur that winks in the camera.
All right.
and I think someone winked back.
This film franchise does not benefit from adding personality to the dinosaurs. They should be a force of nature.
No.
They don't have
Should be a disaster
They
film.
don't
Yeah.
have movies where tidal waves are going to come on crash into Los Angeles and the tidal wave winks at the camera.
No, exactly.
I think Blue ditched him again, so it doesn't really matter.
All right. Well, I'll talk
Anyway,
about.
Bruce, what did you hate?
I'll talk about the movie that I know. Well, everybody will get mad at me for in the comments that I think is the worst film of 2018. Venom.
Oh, it was bad.
Because Venom is bad. It is a bad film, and it made a fuck ton of money, and a lot of people really, really liked the movie.
Jurassic Park made a fuck ton of money too.
Did it make
World,
more than?
whatever.
Did it make more than Venom? I'm not sure.
Jurassic World?
A lot of people saw Venom
15.
and actually appreciated Venom for what it was, which was a really, really cheesy origin story of a superhero. And we all said it in the Venom podcast previously, which was this movie could have made in 2002, and we all would have been like, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
But now we're in the age of Marvel films, and to me, when you see a Marvel movie, you know it's going to be pretty good. Like Captain Marvel, I think I can probably rely on the fact that it's going to be a good movie. I'm not super excited about it, but I think it's probably going to be pretty good. Venom was not. Venom was the furthest thing from a good superhero film, and in an age where we get really good superhero movies a lot, I thought that was offensive. The only thing I liked about the movie the entire time was Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Tom
He held
Hardy,
it together.
He did. He held it together, but the rest of it was garbage. The CG was terrible. Some of the worst CG I've ever seen.
It's like a good video game, though.
It is funny to me because Venom, like, there's so many superhero templates out there, right? And it's funny because I think even Marvel steals their own template sometimes.
Yeah,
Like,
they do. They
People
made the
really
same
like
movie
Black
a lot.
Panther. I think Black Panther is a really good movie, but it's not one of my favorites because it just used its own Marvel template.
Absolutely, yeah.
To do it, but it's a good template. Yeah. So you always end up with, at worst, a good movie.
Right.
Generally, a great one.
Yeah.
It is weird that someone at Sony decided to steal a superhero template from, like you said, 2002.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Well, it's weird.
they're like, what did they do in the Dolph Lundgren Punisher? Like, how can we get that magic? You know.
Well, it's just so weird because the Sony executives just proved time and again that they are nowhere near the actual movie-going audience of 2018.
Well, except that it made a lot of money.
Made $850 million.
I think it was you that said this in the Venom podcast. Maybe it was you. I can't remember. Somebody said, I think a lot of people mistaked this for an actual Marvel film People thought
Oh,
this
yeah.
was related
No,
to,
yeah.
I believe
to
that.
like Infinity War
Yeah, absolutely.
and Captain Marvel, all that stuff.
But
it wasn't.
But $800 million is not an accident.
I mean-
it maintained its like top 3 spot in the box office for weeks.
So here's
which
the-
means people were telling people to see it.
Well, here's the weird thing about this.
That is a
People
shame.
told us
That is
to
a
see
real
it.
Here's
shame.
the weird. Yeah, they did. You're right. Here's the weird thing about Venom. I'll eat my hat if this movie does not go down in its second weekend. So Venom 2 in its second weekend doesn't go down. I'm going to predict 75% or more in its second weekend when Venom 2 comes out. Because
2 years from now.
It's whenever it comes out, Venom 2 is going to have a huge opening weekend because everyone's going to go, "Oh, I love Venom. Remember Venom? I love it." And you're going to go watch it and go, "What the fuck is this?"
I don't know, maybe they attach an interesting director to Venom 2, and they actually make a better movie.
Maybe if they make a better movie,
Woody
yes, Stan.
Harrelson.
But yeah, that's right, Carnage. I forgot about Carnage.
Wiggy Harrelson.
But if they don't, if it's the same, same trash team that made this movie, other than Tom Hardy. I mean, really, it's true. Like, it seemed like nobody cared, and the movie made a fuck ton of money, and that's what makes me the most upset. Is that
I agree. It really is extremely upsetting.
really and
Almost $1 billion for such a shit film,
and it's just such a
insane.
bummer. It's such a bummer because a lot of people complain about how bad movies and television are, and they're always like, "Oh, I can't believe it's always sequels and reboots," and then everyone goes see this movie, and. Like it was like a lot of people said it was objectively bad, like
agree.
reviewed poorly. Just generally people didn't like it. So, so you're sending Hollywood the wrong signals, everyone. That's the problem.
I mean, they liked it though.
Yeah,
I think
guess
Or they went to
so
see
for
it.
me. So
I don't know
for
if they
me,
liked
this was definitely on my list of worst movies, but I wasn't gonna say it was a worst movie because something about how little everyone involved cared amused me. like again, I kind of, if we didn't have everyone else just like, we got pages to shoot today, people, let's move.
Yeah.
Like, then you wouldn't have Tom Hardy trying to ham up the scenes, which are the only salvaging aspects of this for
He was
me.
trying to make something interesting.
Yeah.
I stand
He
by
always
that.
does.
He always does,
does.
yeah.
And so
my
I'm grateful
biggest,
for that.
My biggest gripe is the marketing saying basically, unleash your anti-hero and this guy's a villain. He never did anything that made him a villain.
no,
It just made him an inconsiderate, head biter.
I think he killed some cops. Right? He might have eaten one cop or something, like, and because he had to eat because that's what Venom had to do.
I mean, the general rule is show, don't tell.
Right.
And this movie does a lot of telling. Venom says that he wants to be a good guy now. He says,
cool.
and he says,
I
Tom
guess.
Hardy says that the movie says he's a bad guy. But like,
He's
I can't
absolutely
really
not.
understand what those moments are.
He was, then, just like Adam said before, with suspending your disbelief, that was my problem with this movie, is that I think within the first 10 minutes, when we saw that Riz Ahmed scene where she was like, that little girl told that little girl to stop, and then she never asked the question,
Yeah.
I was immediately out of the film. I was like, oh no,
Yeah.
what movie am I in?
Well,
You
sometimes
get nervous 2 minutes into the movie.
It's like second draft syndrome, right? Like you can always write a first draft of something, and then it isn't because you wrote it over a long time. Who knows?
Yeah.
And then when you go back and look at it again, you're like, oh my god, I walked right out of that scene.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. Why would he do that whole thing? And then you put something in there, you fix it, you change it in some way. But this was like, we don't have time. The Sony executives want it done. Yeah.
Something
Keep going
I
forward.
did find interesting is when the Blu-ray came out, I guess people still buy those, they actually realized what movie they made and kind of cut a kind of goofy romantic comedy trailer between Tom Hardy and Venom. Mm-hmm. This is the movie that they should have made. I don't think they knew that.
Well, it was great. The scenes where Tom Hardy was talking to Venom were great because it was him, by the way. Talking to him, yeah. And I thought those were awesome. But everything surrounding the movie, the special effects, the action, the scenes before and after at the end. I mean, even the climax was terrible.
Effects were super bad.
I mean, it was just, boy.
I think people love Venom.
why?
I love
People
Venom.
love
I've never
Venom.
understood why people like
I
that.
love Venom.
Because
I like
he's Spider-Man, but he's got a different. He's
cool
edgy.
suit.
Well, I liked Venom when I was 13, and then I liked the idea of Venom because it meant black symbiote suit. Yeah, and
that's cool.
And I thought,
Yeah,
oh,
that's
cool.
cool.
It's the inverse of Spider-Man. He's big and hulking and scary, and he can also he can mask. What was it? Spider-Man can't sense when he's coming because he knows how to
knows
block the
him.
spider sense or whatever. what I didn't like in this Venom, he was like, right away, I think he announced it on a radio podcast or something. He's like, sound hurts me, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Don't use sound. Whatever you do, sound is bad. Don't use it on me.
And then
Let's have a fair fight.
But then he's like, then the movie gets to a point and they're like, how do we do sound? And so Venom goes, also fire, and then it goes off.
Fire is more exciting looking.
Oh man, yeah. Look, there are very few qualifications for me to like these sorts of films. Generally speaking, I'm pretty loose. You guys know that I'm pretty loose about movies. I'm just like,
Yeah, you like some real crap.
I
Bruce.
do. I like the real crap. And if you got a Hulk fight and another Hulk, the Abomination at the end of Incredible Hulk, we're good. No problem. If I slam cars and chains and things, cool. But this was nothing. I couldn't see anything at the end of the movie.
Blobs fighting
It was just
each
big
other.
blobs and with characters I didn't care about anyways. So it was
Do not start your movie with a spaceship.
No.
Please just stop. 2019, if you're listening, do not open unless it's fucking Infinity War. That's okay. Because
excuse
there
them
were characters we knew,
Yeah.
but when it's just two lifeless spacecrafts floating through the emptiness of space, you lost me.
And stop ending your movie on two blobby black things fighting each other too. That happens way too often.
It happens a lot.
All right.
All right.
Moving
about
on
you,
from
Dan?
Venom.
Oh, yeah,
What about
Dan.
you?
Did anyone else see A Wrinkle in Time?
No,
Negative. I heard it was
everyone I talked to told me not to,
Yeah.
even though it was on Netflix. It's just a completely passive experience.
I heard it was terrible.
This is one of the worst movies I've seen in my entire life.
You went and saw
Really?
it?
No, I watched it on Netflix because it's free.
I mean, it's not free. You pay monthly for it. What is wrong with you people?
I didn't say it. He said it.
No,
I did it to get a rise out of you.
I mean,
Well, it's because their
royal.
parents' account is what's paying for it, so
Gotcha.
it is free for them.
okay.
But seriously, this is offensive to movie making in general, I think.
Really that bad?
It's just god awful. There's a bunch of really good actors in this movie, and they are terrible.
And the director's really
Terrible.
good.
Who is it?
I mean, Ava DuVernay, I've never seen
yeah.
Selma.
Selma and
But-
13th.
To judge her abilities off of this movie, I would tell her to stop working.
Selma was great.
that's
Selma was a great
harsh.
movie.
Look at the effects are like the entire movie is green screen, and the effects are awful. It's like they know kids don't notice, I guess, when effects are really bad.
okay.
So they didn't care. So she was good. She was fine.
The lead girl was good.
But I don't know if you guys know A Wrinkle in Time. Pretty famous book.
It is, yeah.
There's this kid, Charles Wallace, who's like a genius. So this kid had to play a genius, but he's like 7 years old, and it's just painful. Oprah, great. You know, Oprah's done so much for us, and she was like rendered awful, except for the fact
She's
for the
real.
for the first 20 minutes of the movie, she's just large. She's like 20 feet tall for no reason, and it's really, really funny.
But yeah, might have to check this out.
I don't know. It's oh my god, I don't even know.
I mean, what's the most offending thing? Like, is it just do they just sort of like meander?
Yeah, there's no pacing. They just kind of go from scene to scene. Like they're looking for their dad at a certain point, but they're just kind of falling into it. The original book had a lot of interesting themes, you know, about religion and consciousness and the universe and quantum theory, and all of that is essentially dropped for what. I know there's single lines here and there. It seems like some hippie has Wikipedia and he's just trying to sound cool to his friends. It was offensive. They took everything interesting out of the original story and couldn't put together interesting looking effects. I don't know.
That's too bad.
It's just really sad. And I think the thing that I take away from this that I'm actually really worried about is Ava DuVernay is directing the New Gods movie for DC, which is one of the more interesting properties that I think DC has. And if her $100 million epic films are going to be like this. I'm really
this bombed, right?
You know,
Yeah, it bombed.
Bombed hard.
You know what's interesting? This director gave an interview before this movie came out and was like, it's really frustrating because as a woman director working in this industry, you get like one shot. And if you miss it, then you go back to the end of the line in a lot of cases. And so
Well, she missed it here.
she missed it. And Dan's comment about her never working.
I haven't seen any of her
There's
other
so
movies.
many garbage directors out there that just
terrible.
keep
Yeah.
making shit.
Watch this and
Brett
tell me you
Ratner's
think
of the
this
world.
director should keep going.
Well,
Hold on.
I mean,
because
it's hard.
because
You can't put all the blame on
Tomorrowland
one
is
person.
apparently garbage too.
I think that's
Tomorrowland's
probably a
not
very
good.
similar film.
So it sounds to me like
no
maybe it's
soul.
not necessarily the creators as much as it is Disney executives
Maybe, yeah.
saying this is how we want you to handle these properties, because this all feels like the same ilk of
This-
like
It must be Disney, because it does seem like that they took every bit of power away from a director and just made a paint by numbers AI written film.
I don't think all is lost though. This could be like some really good promo material for like a Cirque du Soleil show or something like that.
Well, so there is a little bit of interesting style to it, like with the way the witch women are dressed.
yeah, the production design looked interesting when I remember when I
just,
saw it.
just the costumes, but then
Okay.
I don't know.
would you feel this way if it was directed by Tarzan Singh?
Yes. I would say what happened to him.
And would you
Really?
say,
Yes.
would you
Even
say,
after Mirror?
may this man never
didn't
work
see
again?
Mirror,
Or would you
Mirror.
say, this man will never work again?
I hope.
It sounds like
Dan
you
would
would give
say,
him a second
Dan
chance.
would say, "I hope his next film, which should be with a much higher budget than this,
Actually
will be
wish
a
Tarzan-
successful return to form."
I wish Tarsem Singh was making New Gods. I don't know.
instead of a woman.
I mean, well, you know, he didn't say that. He just likes Tarzan
Yeah,
Singh.
y'all
For those,
are digging on me. I do like Tarsem, and
for the-
I've only seen this movie of hers.
For those
so.
lost in the conversation, we're not saying Tarzan.
No, Tarzan.
Oh, I
Tarsem
was.
Singh.
I was saying.
Oh,
Yeah.
He's some guy who made The Cell.
Well, I kind of want to watch this.
Years
Maybe
ago.
we should get together and watch. This seems, because at least this doesn't seem. Is it boring?
Yes.
Okay, so everything that's exciting, like all them, because it feels like half of the shots in the trailer are them running from some sort of gigantic apocalyptic event.
It has no stakes to it. There's just a certain point in the movie where that's happening constantly, and you know they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
yeah.
Can you sub to any of the tornadoes wink?
No.
Then what's the
No.
point?
That's a shame.
I guess we could do an Ox theater mode on it or something.
Oh, yeah, we could.
Maybe.
I don't know.
On Wrinkle and
All right.
Throw that one
So
out there.
real quick, let's talk about our favorite movies. We have like 4 minutes.
Oh, God.
You guys
Okay.
have something to do after this. So real quick, James, favorite movie of the year?
Paddington 2. I
haven't seen it. Sounds great.
I think you were saying there's a lot of bad movies. I think even some of the bad movies like the Venoms and the Jurassic Worlds aren't as offended. I haven't been as offended by them as I have in previous years.
Okay.
There's years where I'm like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it's completely balanced out because I think we've gotten some amazing films that I know that you guys are going to all talk about as well. But for me, the standout is Paddington 2. It seems silly, but one of the best movies I've ever seen. And it's definitely the best movie I've seen this year. Some things have no right to be as good as they are. It's like you picked the hardest difficulty and then you still got a fucking perfect.
Knocked it out of the park.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's what because Paddington 1 is good. Everyone said Paddington 1 was like amazing. I liked it a lot. I was like, no, it's a fun kids movie, really well done. Paddington 2 is just fucking stellar in my opinion. I loved it.
Bruce, your favorite movie?
Black Panther. Only because I loved Infinity War, loved it. But Black Panther, the only reason I say that for me personally is because huge superhero fan. Love the superhero origin story. Knew nothing about Black Panther. Really liked the movie. Loved Chadwick Boseman. Obviously loved Michael B. Jordan. But the more that I thought about Black Panther, the more I was like, man, this movie had a social conscience and something that there was an actual message to this film that most Marvel movies don't give you. And I attribute all of that to Coogler because it's just generally like it was a well-made film with a message that wasn't heavy-handed, and I was actually very happy about that.
Yeah, they weren't telling you the themes of the movie.
No.
This guy should work again. He should make a lot more movies.
Well, he made Creed, and Creed was awesome too. So.
A bigger budget he shall have.
because he's a man.
I don't know. He might be doing Black Panther 2.
He is.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think
Currently working on that right
Adam, favorite movie of the year?
So I'm once again, this isn't what I'm saying is the best movie of the year. It's my
favorite.
personal
Your
favorite.
personal favorite. Yeah, that was my personal favorite.
Yeah, because there are some movies, definitely the Mr. Rogers documentary, Won't You Be My Neighbor, and Isle of Dogs are like art things that you should definitely check out that I love to death.
I've heard Roma's supposed to be great too.
And I haven't seen
I'm
Roma
also
yet.
saving a spot for Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Slot in there.
Yeah.
But my like almost guilty pleasure, and I feel like such a basic saying this. Infinity War.
Yeah, fuck
It
yeah.
was so awesome.
It's so awesome.
Elevated blockbusters.
I've seen the movie, I think, 5 times, and I typically don't see a movie like that over and over again, but I've just been in situations where I went to the theater again.
So great.
Or I watched it on a plane, or I watched it again digitally and, on Blu-ray, but, it's different. It's unique because it is a culmination film, and nothing like this has been done or successfully done, for that matter, where this was a 10-year buildup, and it should have failed. It should have failed a long time ago. And the fact that
Just crushed under its own weight.
yeah, and the fact that it blew all the other movies away before it, and is actually made better, has made previous movies better, I feel like.
Yeah.
And did this ensemble film that I don't think anyone has ever done this well before.
I would agree.
It made it my favorite movie of the year. And I know it's a 2-parter, so we don't really know how it ends, but I thought what they did with Thanos and the entire cast coming together in different ways and keeping it interesting.
Yeah.
The movie never slowed down. I thought it did a lot of great things, and it
Had 30 characters to juggle, and they all had something to do.
just the opening still grabs me. It makes me want to watch it again. It's one of those movies where it does these things where no one thought 10 years ago Doctor Strange would be a badass fighting Thanos.
Yeah.
It was really surprising too. Some of the stuff, I feel like you try and go to these movies guessing what's going to happen, or maybe even knowing the formula. But this flipped it so many times.
It was a great moment and it's just you can't. I don't know how they plan for this stuff, but like Bruce was saying, Black Panther came out, made a lot of new fans, and then you immediately, you basically get rid of them at the end of this movie, and people are screaming in the theater. Same with Spider-Man. I'm doing huge spoilers here.
Oh, he's so good.
There's a snap. It happens. People disappear. But these basically 2 new franchises kick off, and these characters people love, and they kill them right there. Of course, they're going to come back in some way, shape, or form. We all know that, but it's fun to pretend for a little bit.
Yeah,
and that initial shock, I thought, was something you don't really get in movies, or something. I don't think that's something you could do with a movie this big, and they somehow got away with it. So, throwing it out there, it's just my personal favorite movie of the year.
So this was my second favorite movie of the year, only beaten out by Roma, which is actually art. This is cinema. Superheroes are fun, but this is a film that means something.
Yeah.
Everything is on fire in this movie.
I gotta see it.
The director, who's also the cinematographer, it's beautiful and it's real. I think he created a lot of this movie from his own memories, things he went through in childhood. I think the main character, Cleo, is essentially the woman that raised him. It's just amazing. It feels real, naturally. I don't know. There's not enough good things to say about this movie. I think by the time this Funhaus airs, this will be on Netflix for you to see.
So watch it.
Hopefully you have a good theater system, because the sound is really important in this. And if you're just listening to it on stereo speakers on your TV, you're definitely going to miss out. If you can see it in theaters, I say go, just because the sound matters so much.
If this movie's so good, why is it in black and white?
Nice.
Got him.
Burned him.
You did burn them up.
Also,
but,
is it other subtitles?
There's subtitles. It's in Spanish. It's in black and white.
We'll watch the color dub.
I know a lot of people are groaning, but this is really a spectacular movie. Probably the best thing I've seen in a couple years.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So good work, Alfonso Cuarón. And if he doesn't win and this movie don't win a bunch of Oscars,
You already said
the,
if he doesn't.
the gig is up.
If the man doesn't win.
Someone give this man more money.
They really should. They should let this guy make whatever the hell
Well,
he
he
wants
always.
to make.
He basically does, and he always fucking kills it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and this is on top. This is better than anything he's made by
Tu Mama Tambien?
Yes. I
love that movie.
There's way less nudity in this one.
Those guys blow each other.
There's a bunch of dong.
She tricks him.
There's
There's
a lot
dong in
of
this?
there's a lot of dick in it.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
all
All
right.
right. That counts.
Clive Owen, cameo. Is
no
this
Clive
connected
Owen.
to the Children of Men cinematic universe?
There is a scene that kind of echoes that, and I don't want to talk about it because
He likes
it's-
doing long takes. I know that.
It's very impressive.
I just wanted to shout out a couple more without discussion. Adding to Adam's Isle of Dogs. It's definitely
Great
amazing.
movie, yeah.
A Star is Born. I loved. It's masturbatory entertainment about the entertainment industry, which I get is kind of like, all right, that's enough. But it was really well done. I really loved it. And Mission Impossible Fallout,
Still haven't seen it.
which I still think stands as probably the best of the Mission Impossibles.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
And
Blow
really
me away.
enjoyed it. They just don't have any right. Again, it's like Paddington. When you set the bar to be an impossible task and then you leap over it, I think that's impressive.
Can I do 2 more shout outs?
yeah.
Andre the Giant documentary and Upgrade. Not a
Oh,
bad,
yeah, Upgrade.
not a bad
That's
little
on my
film.
list.
I had a lot of fun watching that.
Bruce, any extras?
I mean, I usually go to TV if I'm going to go anywhere.
Okay.
You like Arrow?
No, absolutely not. I never recommended that to you. You always call it out, and I always told you it was garbage.
Because you're the only person I know who watched.
I watched it.
Oh.
Well, no, Narcos is what I would say.
All right.
Yeah, always Narcos.
Best television show ever made.
Go see Roma, though. That's the best.
Okay, you got it. Yes, sir. Master.
All right, and I guess this will be towards the end of the year, so I hope everyone had a great 2018. I know it was a shitty year for some, but happy 2019. It's coming.
Who hurt Dan?
And I think hopefully we can do a show soon where we talk about what we're really looking forward to, because there's a lot of really cool stuff in production.
Yeah.
But thanks for sticking around this year, you guys.
See you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. If you were to sell me on it years ago and said, just so you know, the guys who made the Emoji Movie and the studio that brought you Venom and Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, they're going to blow your socks off come 2018 and be like, shut up.
Yeah, but maybe if you said like, but then they asked Alex Hirsch what he thought, I'd be like, okay, all right.
Gravity Falls,
Okay.
gentlemen.
Yeah.